Mahusiano ni kushirikiana.
Mahusiano ni kufahamiana.
Mahusiano ni ujamaa.
Mahusiano ni upendo.
Mahusiano ni maelewano.
Mahusiano ni maridhiano.
Mahusiano ni gharama.
Mahusiano ni kila kitu.
Kama tulivyosikia, kila mtu ana mtazamo wake wa mahusiano ni nini. Ambacho hakipingiki ni kwamba mahusiano ni muhimu katika maisha ya kila binadamu. Pamoja na hilo, wataalamu na watafiti mbalimbali wamethibitisha kwamba mahusiano yasiyo na afya ni miongoni mwa vihatarishi vya kupata changamoto ya afya ya akili na kupata magonjwa ya akili kama vile sonona. Katika msimu huu wa Mental Glow, tutaenda kuelimisha kuhusu changamoto mbalimbali za mahusiano zinazoathiri afya zetu za akili na jinsi ya kukabiliana nazo. Please tune in. Hello Mental Glowers, welcome back to episode 34 of Mental Glow with Jacqueline Odin, and today is a very, very, very special EP where we'll talk more about relationship, focusing on us ladies. And so I am super excited to introduce you the person that I'll be having this conversation with. She's my sister Tina.
What's up?
This is going to be really fun. I'm so looking forward because the reason why I have you here is because you're the person that I look up to when it comes to you know, relationships. And at times we usually have these talks, you know, you advise me, and so I feel like some people should also get to the opportunity to hear your wisdom.
Oh my gosh, I am quite wisdomous.
Yeah. And so this is going to be a very, very insightful episode. Fun but insightful. And so you guys are going to learn a lot. If you're a lady, if you're in a relationship, or in the waiting period where you're, you know, waiting for the one. And so I hope that this EP will not only be, you know, a tool for you to, you know, reflect or gain from, but also it will help you to, you know, get to where you look forward to get. And so before we get started, if it's your first time kabisa kusikiliza Mental Glow, please do join us on our Instagram and X page at Mental Glow TZ. And if you want to chit chat or talk about anything related to mental health, please do not forget to direct message us and we will definitely get back to you. So before we get started, dear sister,
Hey,
we usually have this more like a tradition. It's called Mental Glow quizzing, where I ask you something that you never expected to be asked. And so we usually just want to, you know, get your view or get to understand where you come from, your experience, and more like it. So here's the question. If you could give your younger self a relationship tip, what would it be?
The relationship is not the end of the world.
Wow.
That's what I would say.
Yeah, because thinking about it, like, mostly watu wakisha achana wanahisi kama dunia imeisha.
Yani. Even when you're in the relationship, it feels like it's the whole focus of your entire world.
Yeah.
And if you only knew, like, in 2 years' time, you won't even be thinking of the person.
Wow.
And you wouldn't put that much energy into it.
True.
So that's what I would tell my younger self.
Wow. I think I should also give my younger self the same tip. Because, yeah, like, okay, it's real life. Like, most girls, most ladies, when they're in a relationship, it's more about the relationship rather about other areas of their lives. And so hata watakapokuja ku break up, you know, they lose track of who they are as individuals, and the performance kazini inapungua, and even other areas. So yeah, I feel like knowing that and also like investing ourselves in other areas, itatusaidia pia even when like, okay, it's a breakup, so
yeah,
life.
And at the end of the day, a relationship can be very positive and help you do things in life. It can help you get a job, whether through connections or confidence. It can help you make new friends, all of that stuff. So sio kwamba it's the worst thing in the world. But at the end of the day, the point is that you will get a job.
Yeah.
You will have more friends.
Yeah.
Like, there are things outside the relationship.
Yeah.
So it's not the it all or end all.
Wow. Guys, mnamsikiliza tena? That's the wisdom I was talking about. Anyways, okay, so we wouldn't start from defining what a relationship is, because we've been talking about what relationship is since this season imeanza tangia episode 20 mpaka sasa. And if you don't know what relationship is, you can just go back and listen to episode 20 and you will get that knowledge. And so for this episode, we more look into healthy relationships. And if I may ask you, what constitutes a healthy relationship? Kwa sababu wasichana wengi, they usually, me included, usually nasemaga, I just want to be in a healthy relationship. I want to be in a real healthy relationship. But then you're in a relationship and it's unhealthy, but then still I feel like most people don't know what a healthy relationship is, and at times they what's healthy for them, it's not healthy for another person. I guess it depends on where you come from, the experiences, umepitia, your family, how your dad treated your mom.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I feel like it's different, but also I feel like there is a standard of what constitutes a healthy relationship.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people's idea of a healthy relationship is based on what, like you mentioned, right? What they've seen relationships as being. If you're used to your parents fighting all the time, kwako, it's like that's the most normal thing in the world. And unaweza kufikiria that's a healthy relationship. Other people, they never see their parents fight.
True.
And so they think, oh my gosh, me and my boyfriend or my husband are fighting. This is so unhealthy. How are you behind the scenes in the bedroom, the parents are fighting.
True.
They just hawaonyeshi mbele ya watoto. So you have to also look at what has constructed your view of relationships, first of all. But I think some things remain the same, whether or not you've had whatever worldview you've had of relationships. To me, there's some key things that will always construct a healthy relationship. One of them being, are you as an individual healthy, or at least on your journey of being healthy? And is your partner or your to-be partner or your desired partner on their journey of being healthy? If you find someone who has no kind of recognition of their own mental health, has no priority of, trying to do better or trying to be better, then that's already going to be unhealthy. But at least if you meet someone who they know they have anger issues, or they know maybe they're bad with money, but they're trying to do some things about it, at least they're on their journey. Are they on their journey? Are you on your journey? Right? And I think that already makes for at least a better relationship than if both of you are stuck in a certain personality or certain habits and none of you want to do anything about it. Then automatically that's going to be unhealthy. So I think that to me is one of the key things. And then also your spirituality. So Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, whatever it is, but spirituality gives you a sense of something bigger and something deeper than your current situation. So do you have a sense of something bigger? Right? And if you have that sense of like, there's more than this life, there's life after this life, or there's more than the today, or today does not mean that this is the end of everything, like there's other things going on in the world. If you have that sense, that spirituality, then it automatically allows you to be healthy in a relationship or to have a healthy relationship, because you're not going to put all your eggs in one basket. You're not going to say this relationship is my entire existence. You're going to understand that there's still things going on in the world. You're going to understand that you are still a professional at work and you're needed there. You're still going to understand you're still someone's friend. You're going to understand you still have a power to play in praying for other people, right? So like, just what is your spirituality? I think is a key thing. And then I think also knowing why you went into a relationship allows you to have a healthy or not healthy relationship, right? Because if you went into it, kukimbia upweke, for example, right? Like you just don't want to be lonely anymore. You're tired of this. You think people in relationships are happier. Then automatically, I don't think you're going to have such a healthy relationship, because it means that your focus is going to be on this person must make me happy. This relationship must make me happy. So do you know why you went into a relationship? Are you running away from something? Or is it like just passion or lust? Yani, this guy is the most handsome thing in the world. You just have to be with him, you know?
Lord.
So it's like, knowing why you went into a relationship will give you a sign of whether this is going to be healthy or not. And then I think, to me, a key thing, and I always say this even to my husband, is that he is not the only relationship in my life that will give me joy. Yani kwamba siwezi kuweka everything on him. I can't put all the burden on him of all my emotions. And that's why you need to have an ecosystem of relationships.
True.
In order for your what do you call it, your romantic relationship to be successful. You need to have other ecosystem. You need to have good, positive relationships with your coworkers. You need to have family, right? Because family have known you even longer than your boyfriend or husband.
Sure.
So you still need that emotional support, something that your husband can't give you.
Yeah.
You need friends, right? So don't cancel people out and be like, oh my gosh, I found myself a man.
He's the
so
focus.
now, right? So now I don't need you girls. I don't need whatever. No, you need to have an
Easy.
ecosystem of relationships.
Yeah.
And if you have an ecosystem of relationship, then each of those relationships will be healthy. Because even to me, I'm very close with my family, but and Ben can't provide for me everything that my family can. But at the same time, there are times when I need a break from my family, right? And they can't provide for me what Ben can. So it's like it plays off each other and it complements each other.
Yeah,
So I think those
it's
are
the
things.
complementing part.
Yeah.
Yeah, because wengi, I feel like I think I should also admit kwamba at times I also get to lose myself in relationship. I feel like it's the focus of it all, but it's not. The fact that umesema we should have a sense of a bigger, something bigger. I feel like that stands out, and also the why question. Why do you want to be in a relationship? And like knowing why you're getting into that relationship with that person also will help you to build that foundation. Like, is it going to be a healthy relationship or unhealthy? Make mwisho wa siku, if you're just jumping from one relationship to the other, then I don't think kwamba it fill in the void that you have inside of you or satisfy you in general. But getting to know yourself and also like being able to be happy without having a partner, itakusaidia hata like even if you're in a relationship you're happy, because like you said, wengi tunaingia kwenye relationship just to kupendwa or like kuwa happy, and at times we don't love ourselves. So how are we going to experience the love that other people give us if we don't do that?
And I think at the end of the day, as humans, we are relational beings. Yani kwamba we've been created to be in relationship with each other, in relationship with God, in relationship with, friends, family, loved ones, whatever the case is, right? Neighbors, etc. Even our enemies, right? We're called to be in a relationship with them. We're called to love them. So I think you can't avoid the fact that as a human, you will have that innate desire to be in a relationship. What you can do is understand that desire. And when it comes, or when you feel it more than the normal day, you can asking yourself, like, what is it that I'm missing, right?
Yeah.
Like, today I feel lonely. Is it because I need someone who will just listen to me? Is it someone who will laugh with me? Is it that I just need to feel like I'm someone's priority? Like, if you understand yourself in those, like when those emotions come, it allows you to make more sensible decisions when it comes to relationships.
Sure.
Because I know people think that I'm just always lonely. I'm always lonely. It means I need a boyfriend. Oh, I'm so jealous of married people. They must have someone to go home to every night and talk to. But even in marriage, it doesn't mean that you and your husband are going to sit together and talk every night.
Yeah, true.
Right? So it's not kwamba married people are not lonely. We all have seasons of loneliness. We all have seasons of not loneliness.
Wow.
So it's when when those seasons come and they hit you, kuelewa, and to say, okay, I am feeling this because of ABC, or I need ABC, then you can decide, okay, maybe I just need someone to laugh with. Who of my friend is funny? Who can I laugh with? Or, like, what movie can I watch? Just something like, because if every feeling comes and you think the solution to every feeling is to get a relationship, then that's not going to be a healthy one.
Sure. Wow, this is deep. So how can a girl child find her authentic place in a relationship without losing her sense of self. Because mwanzoni tumesema like for most ladies or girls, when they get into a relationship, they forget who they are. At times they even change who they are just, to satisfy the partner or just to feel appreciated or belong. I feel like she belongs to, that relationship or to that person. So how can they, not lose their sense of self?
I don't even know if you can always not lose your sense of self. I think to say this is the formula so you don't lose yourself is really hard, because a girl is dynamic. There's a lot of things, right, that comes with the decisions you make or your sense of self. So I think I would ask, like, the first thing a girl child should do is, do they know themselves? Do they know what they like? Do they know who they are?
Self-awareness.
Yes. Do they know what makes them happy?
Yeah.
Like, I think to me, if you know yourself, you stand a better chance of not losing yourself.
Wow. Yeah.
But if you have chosen to immerse yourself in a relationship and you've been changing some things, and not all changes are bad.
Yeah.
Because the bottom line is, they say that, a marriage, if you allow it, the marriage is a mirror to really like change, to see yourself and change, So change is not the worst thing. But I think if someone has already decided to lose themselves in a relationship and start changing for the negative, not the positive, for the negative, then I think to me, I would say, as harsh as it sounds, is to allow them to hit rock bottom, and hopefully they will take some lessons from that.
Wow.
Right? So to me, it's two things. It's before you lose yourself, you know yourself. Just take time and be like, okay, what do I like?
Yeah.
What do I not like? What do I want to be? Because you can be this person today in this relationship and you are someone's fling. And then you change because now you're someone's girlfriend. And now you change because now you're someone's wife.
Yeah.
And this is not the same someone.
Yeah.
So you've had 3 different identities with 3 different people. But you've still been you. Like you've still, like, you go to bed with yourself. So when you go to bed, who do you like to be? Not who you are because you're someone's fling or someone's girlfriend or someone's wife, but who do you like to be when you go to bed? Just to dwell on that constantly. I would say, just before you sleep, just ask yourself that every day. Like, did I like being myself today? Did I like being with myself today? Like, did I like who I was today? And then you build up a list of things that you like being and that you like to do and that you like in general in life. And if you meditate on that every night, it builds up for you a sense of, like, even if you go into a relationship, it's easier for you to hold on to those things because you've meditated on them every night.
Guys, meditate on that. Wow, that's really nice. I mean, like, for me, I'll start tomorrow, to meditate. And so there's this thing called, social media. It has an impact on our lives. And right now, watu wengi, I feel like social media has kind of set this basis of how a relationship should look like. What we call power couple, and tunaangalia and we'll be like, oh, but then we don't know what's going on uko nyuma. And so what do you have to say concerning the media on how it influences a girl child's perception of what constitutes a healthy relationship?
Because I would say half of those power couples we hear about, when they break up, where does their power go? Yani kwamba you're a power couple and now what? So I would say that already in itself should show you that don't build up anyone on a platform. I don't have social media. I don't have any social media accounts. My only social media account is WhatsApp, guys. And that's not even like my phone number. It's just my WhatsApp number. So I don't believe and I don't subscribe to social media. I know there's positive sides of things. There's some hilarious content on social media. It's a way of connecting with friends, people you haven't seen forever. So there's a lot of positives of social media. I would just say social media is basically, what do they call it, Yamani? Alter universe.
I never heard of that.
The Yamani English has escaped me right now. It's basically like social media is another universe. It's like a parallel universe, but it's not the world that you live in. So to me, I would say that in itself should show someone that whatever they see on that should not be what they take into their reality, into their real universe, right? Learn more from what's really happening around you than what's happening on social media. And I would say like social media can be content creation, like you build it up to look so fabulous, and then behind the scenes it's really not. I work in content creation, so I know what happens behind the scenes. You present something so nice and so fancy and shiny, and then behind that
you don't know how many cuts zilikuwepo.
Exactly. So I would just say that, and I don't know because I'm not really a social media person, so I don't understand, or I don't have an awareness of everything that's going on in social media nowadays. I just know that there's a lot of it's a big driver of culture. Like it starts a lot of things. It starts beauty trends. It starts the English language has evolved because of social media. There's people in the US, in Tanzania, in Japan who speak the same words that they would never have been able to speak because it's social media. You pass on new jargons and all of that stuff.
Sure.
So, and that way it's its own culture. But I would just say that you should think of what culture do you want to create, right? So there's the culture that the media is portraying. There's the culture you see in the Hollywood films. There's the culture we have as, in Africa. It's like, they say this African mothers or whatever. Like there's a certain like culture that comes with those things. And then there's the culture you were raised with. And then there's the culture you want to create for yourself. So I think to keep that as your focus. And I know social media can influence the culture that you want to create also. But I think when it comes to how it affects people's perception of relationship, it's just to be aware that this is not the real life. It's one kind of culture. It doesn't mean it will fit as your culture. It doesn't mean that it will work for you. So what culture do you want to create that would work for you?
And more like what we see on social media, it's not like the whole story.
It's not. I mean, how many discussions have you and I have that we're not going to reveal on this podcast? Where you saw something and you were like, wow. And then I was like, the truth is ABC. Right? So I think, it's not the full story. And it's the good thing is you can always take it as like, oh, these guys seem to be doing ABC together. This is nice. Like you can always take it positively. You can always say, oh, I'm going to try and do this. And then if it fits with you and your partner in your relationship, and if it works for you and it's something positive, then great. It doesn't matter what went on behind the scenes, right? They're showing you something positive. If you want to take that, make that your own culture, then that's going to be positive for you. But I would say not to get lost in saying, if it doesn't work out like this person, then I am completely failing at my relationship. Right? So take the positive and try it. If it works for you, make it your culture. But if it doesn't work for you, or if you think that you can never get to where they are, just know that it's not actually the reality.
Wow. All right. That's Tina. And let's go on break and we'll be back to wrap this episode up.
Tunaishi katika zama za kasi ambapo watu wana majukumu mengi na mara nyingi husahau na wengine hupuuza umuhimu wa kupunguza mwendo na kujali afya zao za akili. Usiwe na wasiwasi. TAHMEF imeleta suluhisho la kubadilisha maisha yako popote ulipo, ambalo ni program ya ahadi inayokupa urahisi wa kupata msaada wa kisaikolojia.
Hebu nikueleze baadhi ya vipengele vyake bora. Ya kwanza ni helpline au msaada. Ukiwa una maswali yoyote au unahitaji msaada kuhusu jinsi ya kutumia program hii, helpline itakusaidia kutatua maswala yako. Ya pili ni therapy au tiba ya kisaikolojia. Katika hii unapata fursa ya kuhifadhi kipindi cha tiba ya kisaikolojia, iwe ya mtu binafsi, kwa wanandoa au kwa ajili ya mtoto wako kulingana na upatikanaji wako. Ya tatu ni jarida au journal. Kupitia uandishi unaweza kuelezea hisia zako, kutambua mifumo na kufuatilia maendeleo yako kwa wakati. Ya nne ni community au jumuiya. Ahadi inakupa mazingira ambayo unaweza kushiriki au kuelezea experience yako bila hukumu yoyote au judgment yoyote.
Mimi mwenyewe natumia ahadi na imekuwa msaada mkubwa kwangu. Ikiwa unakabiliwa na mafadhaiko ya kila siku au unatafuta kuimarisha afya yako ya akili, programu hii itakuwa rafiki yako wa karibu.
Kwa hivyo usisubiri tena, tembelea Play Store na upakue Ahadi application ambayo ni AHADI na ufanye afya yako ya akili kuwa ya kuahidi kama jina lenyewe, Ahadi. So welcome back, guys. So Tina, in your own opinion, how can a girl child or us ladies prioritize our well-being in relationships?
Speaking to the well-being expert. Well,
before ujaendelea, okay, so Tina is not only my sister, but she also has a background in psychology. Yeah, so she stands out. So
although I feel like my degree is outdated. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's two things. There's prioritizing your well-being even before you're in a relationship, because then you will be able to plant a lot of seeds in yourself and build a lot of well-being foundations before even being in a relationship. And I think that's really critical. Now, if you're already in a relationship, there's also the aspect of continuing your well-being or finding your well-being while in a relationship. So those are two different things. It doesn't mean they have different answers, but just like, there's different, maybe someone is coming in at different points of the journey. So to start with prioritizing your well-being as you're waiting for a relationship, or not even waiting, I don't want to say waiting, before you're even in a relationship, right? Things like what we touched on before, meditating with yourself, kind of being, who do I want to be, or who am I? What do I enjoy? What do I like? Things like that. Like, the more you are confident in yourself in that way, and the more you know yourself, it's a better sense of well-being. It's really nice to know yourself.
Yeah.
So people shouldn't underestimate the importance of knowing yourself. And then also just having healthy habits. So even if you build a habit of, let's say, you're going to hang out with the girls, every Saturday at the beach, or maybe not even every Saturday, maybe once a month, building that habit that even when you get into a relationship, you don't break that habit. So there's a lot of things that help you in your well-being. That is not necessarily having to see a therapist or having to read books about mental health, right? So even before getting in a relationship, prioritizing your well-being is about understanding who you are, doing things, having habits, activities that, edify you and help you. And then also like just a habit, a pattern of, I believe totally in prayer, right? I believe in prayer. That's something that for me is a key part of my well-being, because I'm basically a high functioning anxious person. Self-diagnosed. But like there are times when I can feel the anxiety coming on. And to me the only thing that really helps is praying. And it's not even like I'm praying against all of everything, or I'm praying whatever. It's just that I've built such a habit of like, okay, like just meditating on prayer and praying, that to me that's a big part of my well-being.
I feel like we're more of the same when it comes to that. I'm very anxious and like big time self-diagnosed too. But then in terms of meditating on prayers, like at times ninatembea and then just like a thought comes up and I'm like, like talking like, God, this and this and this, why is this happening? Like, how can I change things like that? And I feel like just talking about it, saying, but still for me it helps. And even at times when I'm at work, like I just get out of the office and I just walk around, and our office space has this environment which is, it's more like surrounded by nature, and so like it's healing and just connecting, and like
that's beautiful.
And
I think go ahead.
I just wanted to add something, but before I do that, you can say
No, I was just gonna add that, and I think with prayer, it's not just like going to God and being like, oh my gosh, I'm so anxious about this. God help me this. Like you don't even have to approach the issue of the anxiety. I think for me, my prayer habit is more just like God is with you all the time. So kind of just being like, God, did you see this? God, I can feel it coming. Here we go again. You know, like things like that, where you're just very real and very honest, where you don't have to put up any front. You don't have to have the perfect words to say in your prayer. I think that to me is very, or sometimes I just go and I'm like, okay, God, I just want to cry right now. Like just let me cry right now. You know, things like that. So I think, what were you going to add?
I was about to add the part of the point of habits. I feel like also for people who are about to get into a relationship or in a relationship, they should reflect. One way to prioritize their well-being is by reflecting on past experiences, like what didn't work for them uko nyuma, and what how can they change when you're this coming relationship or in that relationship. I feel like doing the same thing over and over again, it's like a vicious cycle. Like uko nyuma, let's say you were having this habit of letting your partner anakuamulia vitu, making decisions on behalf of you, and below saying hata you don't even want to do that, but then you just let it happen, and then unaingia kwenye this current relationship, you're also letting it happen again and again. I feel like hiyo itakufanya hata you even lose yourself, your voice, who you are in general. So just reflect what didn't work huko nyuma and how can you change.
Exactly. And I think that's a good transition into as you're transitioning into a relationship, right? So I think we touched on how you can prioritize well-being even while single. And then what you mentioned right now is a good way of how to prioritize well-being as you're transitioning into being in a relationship, right? Like meditate on what has happened in the past, reflect on it, and be like, what do you not want to happen the same, right? So basically, in essence, knowing what you're getting into. Because I think if you have a very clear picture of what you're getting into, it also helps. Sorry, guys.
It's hot in here.
Interference. It also helps you into just to have an awareness, right? So that you're not kind of like ambushed. So I would say, like, one key thing that I always tell people is, if a guy shows you who they are, believe them. Believe them.
You just told me that.
Like, just believe them. Like, don't think that you are the savior. Don't think that you are their Holy Spirit. Don't think that you'll be the miracle worker that will change
him.
Just believe them. Once you believe them, then you have that. You make an informed decision. Do I want to do this the rest of my life or not? Or even for a year or not? Is this the kind of fun I want to have or not? Right? So reflect on what has happened to you in the past. What has that made you feel? Did you really enjoy going through that situation or not? Can you really handle it again or not? And as the guy that you're starting to date is showing you things, believe them and make an informed decision based on all your experience and based on your meditation of who you like to be or who you want to be. And then make informed decision based on that, right? No one is going to be able to tell you something, because I know us ladies, once we've made up our mind, once we made up our hearts, basically, right? We just have to go through with it. We'll get burnt. We'll learn our lesson, right? It's really hard to tell someone, learn from my mistakes, don't do it. Sometimes you just have to make the same mistakes yourself. But do it based on your experience and meditation of who you want to be. And what the guy is showing you.
Because at times you may tell a person, like, this happened to me. I don't want you to, to make the same mistakes. And they'll be like, that's your experience, not mine. It's going to be different,
I mean, the heart is deceiving above all things.
True.
So sometimes it's really hard to have that kind of advice given to you. And then prioritizing your well-being now while you're in the midst of a relationship, whether it's been a good relationship or a bad relationship, and you either have been doing well-being or have now had the need to start prioritizing your well-being. Maybe the relationship is going so badly. I think there's several things you can think of, right? You can think of continuing to do those habits that you knew made you happy in the past, right? Like going hanging out with friends, spending time with family, jogging, whatever it is that made you happy in the past, playing, doing a puzzle, whatever it is. Like, those are the things that they might not be big, they're not monumental, but there's something that can allow you to build up your well-being or to continue with your well-being also. And then I think to me it's also finding that one mature person that you can talk to. And I say one and I say mature because we have a habit of like, it's girls' night, we're going to drink wine, we're going, iced tea, sorry, it's a podcast. We're going to drink iced tea and we're going to just complain about everything and just say everything that's on our heart, and we're going to feel better because our friends are going to tell us, this guy, leave him, or they're going to tell us all these things. We're going to get hyped up, then we're going to go back home to our relationship, and it's not going to be anything that can change the situation, right? So I think finding that one and that wise person can make a difference in your well-being, even if they can't change the situation for you. But knowing that your mental health is safe in someone's hand, in terms of I feel safe then being able to go to this person and saying that I feel I'm at a breaking point, or I still want to give it a try, or I feel like I've lost my identity. And then that person being wise, hopefully, will be able to guide you in a way that if the guidance is, okay, you really need to leave, then that's the guidance. But if the guidance is more like, go on a trip for yourself, whatever it is, like to be able to trust that this one wise person is able to walk with you on this path. And I think a lot of people, maybe they go to their mothers or they go to their friends, and if your mother or your friend is that one wise person, then that's great. But what I've seen a lot happening is if you involve family in your relationships, it gets more dramatic before it gets better.
Word.
Right? So, because at the end of the day, your family is going to be on your side. They're not going to be on your boyfriend's side. They're not going to be on your husband's side. They're going to be on your side. So they're going to tell you things that they know will be for your safety or your well-being. Exactly. But it doesn't mean that it will fix the situation, right? So I think to just really prayerfully consider who is that one mature, wise person to walk with you. A lot of people, they're like, okay, I'm married, so a lot of people are like, oh, it's, the person you chose to be your maid of honor and your best man will be the people to guide you. But sometimes you choose them because they're your best friends, not because they're the right people to guide you. So prayerfully consider who those people are going to be. And then someone told us something when we were in Greece for our honeymoon, and they were this old couple. They were like in their 80s, and they were walking around the museum, and I think they were fighting because the husband was like walking behind the wife, looking very angry. And then at some point they sat down next to my husband and I, and we were asking them like, what brings you here? And they're like, oh, they've been married now for, I think it was 60 years or something. So they just we're doing this trip together. And then we asked them, oh, what advice can you give? And then the husband very angrily was like, make the right choices early. But to us, it stuck out because, and that's what we keep referring to. It's like, make the right choice, but make it early. Kwamba, if you're getting into a relationship and you don't like to cook, and you're like, no, but I'm going to be the best cook for my husband, or I'm going to be the Miss Homemaker or whatever. And then the first year, second year, you're cooking. The first year you're happy. The second year you realize that's not really good, and you knew yourself, but you decided to do something else. And then by the fourth year, you get so pissed at your husband. Every time he comes home asking what's for dinner, because you don't like to cook, but you made a choice, and now you're gonna go get angry at your husband. You're gonna do things, and your husband is gonna be like, you've changed. And now for him, it's like, my wife has changed.
Kumbe, it's who you are. Like, you just
and for you, it's like, he has so many expectations. Who does he think I am? He just takes me as a cook. And it's like, but you made the wrong choice from the beginning, and then you spend the rest of your life trying to undo the choice that you made, or trying to kind of recover from the consequence of that choice. So make the right choice, make it early. As soon as you know what the right choice is, make it, So I think that's something that, to me, at least, has been a big part of my well-being. That there's things which, as much as they're not culturally maybe the norm, as much as whatever there is, but between me and my husband, we say, this is what we're going to do now, because this is the culture we're building now, so that in 10 years' time we don't surprise each other, right? They just make it up front, make the right choice early. We'll go long ways into your well-being. And this is a personal story in terms of cooking, because now it's like I don't like cooking, right? And so that's why I use it as an example. Not that I've gotten to the point where I'm angry at him, but like we made the choice to have a chef, and we have a chef. And it's nothing fancy, right? Like people put budget for other things. We put a budget for a chef, because I know when I come home from work, I don't want to cook.
Yeah.
My husband doesn't want to cook. So why are we going to like Nyana or like force each other and be like, no, my work is more important than you're not as tired as me, you cook. It's like, no, we may have a chef. We avoid all of those things.
Wow.
So those are the kind of things, to me, my well-being is based a lot on making the decisions early. Wow. It might not be the reality for a lot of people, and even in all areas of my life, it might not be the reality. But that's a big thing to me in terms of your well-being, that you make the right choice and you make it early. You have one person you've identified who can walk with you through life, even if they can't change your situation for you, but your spirit or your soul feels safe knowing that this person is not going to misguide you completely. And then just continue working on those habits that you know were making you happy when you knew who you are, right? And if now you've lost who you are, go back to those habits. They might remind you of who you are. Or if you still know who you are, but you're in a situation that is not good for your mental health, mental well-being, continue just working, just doing those habits,
And I also feel like being able to make the right choices early, it starts from a point where you are authentic. Because
exactly.
mwisho siku, if you're not true to yourself, who you are, I don't think it's easy for you to make the right choices.
Yeah.
You just go with the flow, and then mwisho siku you start to resent.
Yeah.
You're angry, and your partner may not understand what's going on.
Exactly.
But then deep down, you didn't want to, embrace your true self mwanzoni. Probably thinking kwamba it's a deal breaker for my partner. And maybe I should just let it go. I shouldn't say anything. But then I feel like embracing your true self, who you are, from the early stages of a relationship, it will help you a lot in terms of growth with your partner, and even getting to know yourself more and more and more.
Yeah, and you know how that gets easier? If you spend time meditating on what you are, who you are, what you like to do, etc. I cannot overemphasize the importance of that season of your life, because then it helps you say, okay, you can make right choices earlier because you've spent time meditating and knowing who you are and what you're about. Yeah. Right? So I think all of that plays into each other. And I always say, after every relationship, you need to give yourself time to have the mourning period. Meaning MOURN, not morning as well. Where it's you're going unaenda msibani for your relationship. You're sitting there, you're mourning it, you're dwelling on it, you're thinking about it, you're learning. Slowly you start learning lessons that you need to learn from it. Allow yourself to go through that season before you get into another relationship, because that season is meant for you to meditate on who you are and what you don't want anymore, or who you don't want to be. So give yourself that time. Don't rush from one to the other, because then you'll never have that time to sit and meditate on what you really are or who you really are.
Yeah, I feel like that speaks to me directly, kwa sababu wengi, when they break up, usually wanatafuta pumziko la moyo, where to ignore the pain, ignore everything.
No, nenda msibani jamani. Just go. I think that it's so critical.
And also for me, I was talking to this friend of mine, and I was telling him kwamba so usually when people break up, some prefer to avoid that person, not to see around, kwa sababu when they see them, it's more reminding, and it's not something that they want to, do. But for me, it's different. Like, I try my best to expose myself to environments where I know he'll be there. And the reason why I do it, it's more of this technique we have in therapy. It's called exposure technique, where I feel like exposing myself to environments where he is, this idea mimi, and by the time I'm looking at him, I'm just thinking how it started, and also it's easier if I get to talk to him, because that would idea like getting more clarity, like what's going to, what happened, and where did it go wrong. It may not be directly, but also it's for me it's healing that way. And I feel like, and that person are gonna be nope, nipe tu technique. For me that doesn't work. So yeah, I think as you said before, we are all wired differently, and what works for you may not work for the other person. So whatever rocks your boat, I guess.
Exactly. No, but I like that exposure technique, and that's what I would also subscribe to, because at the end of the day, to me personally, this is just to me, the worst thing in the world is the what if, or it's the like building it up in my head of all the different scenarios. So I would rather expose myself, and that way to me I can find closure quicker than saying like I'm gonna avoid everything, I'm gonna move countries, I'm gonna block this person. Like, it doesn't mean that I'm gonna be texting them all the time, but to me I always believe that if you need to ask a question, ask it. If you don't get an answer, that in itself is an answer. Right? But to sit there and be like, I'm going to completely avoid anything and pretend this never happened, or move countries or whatever.
Can't do that.
Like, that doesn't work for me. For other people it does. So I'm not saying it's the best way. For other people it 100% works if you just leave everything. And that's also
But then
great.
How many times will you keep on running from one place to the other?
I guess you go back and forth. You go to your new country, you have another relationship, it doesn't work, you go back to your first country.
By the time you get back to your first country, maumivu yashapungua.
Exactly. So,
Wow.
I guess it works.
Wow. This life is crazy, I guess.
Yeah.
Mwanzoni, before we started recording, ulisema relationships aren't that serious, there's a point.
Guys, they're not. Okay, you know what? I know that all of what we've been saying looks easier said than done. Right? Kuna watu watasema like, oh, it's easier for you to say this, but I'm really like, my situation is so unique. I'm really going through something. And I totally believe that every situation is unique because it's happening to you.
True, yeah.
But it doesn't mean it's never happened to anyone in the world. And guess what? Those people have moved on. So to me, that's already a sign that it is possible. Like, it is possible to get over a relationship. It is possible. I'm not saying it because I am happily married or something. I'm saying it because I have gotten over relationships to get into a place where now I am married. Right? I have gotten over relationships. So it is possible. Every situation is unique to someone, but it's not the end of the world. And it might be like, it's easy for you to say, it's easier said than done. But guess what? You are the only person who can decide for yourself that you want to, like that you want this to be something that you get over. Like you can decide that for the rest of your life you're going to mourn and sit in this pain, and you're never going to have any other relationship. And it's always going to be about this. You can decide that also. No one can.
It starts with you.
Yeah. And I think that's one of maybe the most cliche advices, but I think it's just, it is. Like, even God is not going to be like, hey, excuse me. Like, he, like, you have to let him also heal you, right? Like, so it is about what you decide.
I usually have these conversations with my friends too. Kuna this friend of mine, amesema kwamba he will, I said the same thing you just said. He said kwamba he will never love someone like he loved his ex. And I was like, that's just in your head. Like, you've made that decision not to do that. But then anasema, you don't understand. I'm like, I do understand. But then, in most cases, I feel like it's just in our head.
Yeah.
And the fact that we do not want to, mourn and, heal inatuia vigumu even when we meet a potential partner, we don't see it, we don't feel it kwa sababu we still want to leave the past experience.
And I mean, I think if someone really feels that, if they feel they will never love anyone like they love their ex, these are some of the things I would say. Firstly, good for you. It means that you actually have the capacity of really loving. So that's already a great sign, right? You're not a psychopath. You can actually love people.
Yeah.
Great. The second thing is, that means you're going to always be in love with someone else's wife. Because guess what?
Sure.
That chick is going to go marry someone else.
Yeah.
So you're going to be the one sitting there in love with someone else's wife. Is that what you want for yourself?
Nope.
Okay. A third thing I would say is, it means that either you've chosen to always be that single lonely guy who's looking at someone else's wife, or you've chosen to marry someone else and never actually give that someone else a chance to be loved, because you've insisted that you always love someone else more. So to me, it's like, those are the things where that's why I'm like, it's not that serious, guys. Like, this, if you think about it, the universe has a way of showing you the bigger picture. You don't need an angel to come and show you like, this is the one for you, this is not the one for you. The universe has a way of doing that, because basically, just look at the reality of it. If you'll never love someone the way you love your ex, but this person is your ex, guess what? They're gonna marry someone else. Guess what? You're gonna marry someone else, and you're not gonna love your wife because you think you're gonna love someone. So to me, those are the things where I'm like, it's not that serious.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm just not a serious person. It's just not that serious, guys.
People are serious, in a relationship. Like, maisha, life stops the moment they break up. And I feel like, what we're gonna say, you need to get a life before you get into a relationship. Because then, like, when it's done, you still have things that you'll be doing that will bring joy, and fulfillment, rather than I also wanted to say this, okay, in terms of in case of watu ambao wako kwenye marriage, so there are some couples where they do things together, same hobbies, they are always together. And so I wanted to ask, how like, is it healthy to be doing everything with your husband or wife? Because like you said, you have friends, you have family, so you need to hang out with these people also, and not just your husband. Because your husband sio ndo maisha yako yote, you need other people in your life that you need to pay attention to, vitu kama hivyo. So how about those couples ambao they're always together, they have coffee dates, they swimming together, like all vacations wanaenda wote, vitu kama hivyo?
I would say it's healthy, it's not bad, but to me, I would say I hope that these couples don't work together. Because at the end of the day, you work 8 hours a day, meaning you are away from each other for 8 hours. So already that's a good balance. So if you want to do everything, if you want to have dinner dates, if you want to go on vacation together, I would say that's great. It means you love each other's company, and it means that that's your quality time, because at the end of the day, you spend 40 hours a week away from each other at work. But if those people are now working together or working from home in the same space, and then they do everything together, then I would say just take a break. Go hang out with someone else. Do another hobby, right? And so I think there has to be that balance, because I think the other extreme is that you never do anything together. You're at work, after work, you go hang out with the boys, you go hang out with the girls. You don't even cook together. You come back, you sleep, you wake up at different times. The weekend, you have your own plans, they have their plans. In the morning, he goes jogging, you go to the gym. And if everything you're doing is separate, that's also not healthy. So I think they have to find a balance.
Balance is the word.
And there's some hobbies which are very individual hobbies, and you all have to find that. Like, I like to go to the gym, and I'm not going to the gym with my husband. He likes to run or bike. He doesn't do that with me. But then there's things that you can also then do together. So I think just, find a balance.
All right. This has been a blast.
Guys, forgive me in advance if I've said anything that has offended someone.
Yeah, please, because Mushasiko, like if you also have inputs or you want to share your experience, don't hesitate to do so. I feel like it's one way to learn from each other. Kila mtu ana different experiences, and you don't have to take everything kilichoongelea, just what spoke to you, just, you know, roll with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, I'm not on social media, so I won't hear anyway, so that's fine. It's not that serious.
Wow.
But I really, really hope that I have managed to say some things that, and if you take away anything, I would say take away the thing of meditating and spending time with yourself.
And also add up to, they should also take to the part of getting to know themselves, self-awareness.
Exactly.
Yeah, because, that's key.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for keeping up with us until the end of this episode, and looking forward to the next episode where we'll talk more about communication in relationships, and it's gonna be fun too. So please reflect on what Tina and I've been conversing, and I do hope you get to relate to it, and also find what works for you. And you don't have to take everything like we've said. So we love you guys, and this is to say bye.